Very good afternoon. This is the Midday News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. Let us start the Midday News with the headlines. High schools reopen in Jammu and Kashmir today. Shops, businesses allowed to function in areas without restrictions. Minority Affairs Ministry team assesses implementation of development programs in the state. Kashmir, an integral part of India, reiterates Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, says talks with Pakistan only on POK now. Addresses Golden Jubilee celebrations of Naval Science and Technology Laboratory in Visakhapatnam. Chandrayaan-2, another step closer to the moon, successfully enters third lunar orbit, confirms Indian Space Research Organization. Spacecraft to touch down on moon surface on 7th of September. Union Cabinet meeting today to consider relaxing FDI norms in single brand retail and digital media. May also announce a special assistance for Jammu and Kashmir. And ICC releases test rankings for players. In batting, Team India captain Virat Kohli retains a 6-point lead over Steve Smith. Cheteshwar Pujara in the 4th place. In bowling, Jasprit Bumrah breaks into top 10 at the 7th position. Our top story this afternoon, high schools in the Kashmir Valley reopened today in areas where restrictions have been lifted. So far, over 3,000 primary schools and 774 middle schools have reopened across the valley. Restrictions on the movement of people have been eased in 81 police station areas across the valley, and further restrictions will be eased out in 10 more areas on Thursday.
10 more police stations will be opened by Thursday. 15 new exchanges to be opened from today. The list includes in Anantnag, Lakripura, Kokarnag, Duru, Veeri, in Baramulla, Fatehgarh, Gadkhor, Wagura, Rauhama, Salamabad, Watregam, Kumzar, Singhpura, in Badgam, Khansab, Magam, in Kupwara, Tregam. The Education Department has declared open all high schools in those areas where relaxations and restrictions have been given from tomorrow.
The Jammu and Kashmir officials say that the communication blockade was eased to some extent in the valley as landline telephone services were restored in most parts in view of the improving situation in the state, as well as mobile services and internet, including the BSNL's broadband and private-based internet have also remained, however, snapped since 5th of August. Now, a team of Minority Affairs Ministry is also in Kashmir on a 2-day visit. A secretary in Minority Affairs Ministry, Sailesh, who is part of the team, met Governor Satyapal Malik at the Raj Bhavan in Srinagar on Tuesday. He apprised the governor about the ongoing assessment of the possibilities existing for the socio-economic development of the region, welfare of the minorities, and skill development of the youth. The governor emphasized the need for ensuring holistic development of Jammu and Kashmir and extending the benefits of various central government schemes to the people. He also stressed on imparting needed skills to the youth in sync with the job market requirements. And in more news related to Jammu and Kashmir, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today said that if talks would happen between New Delhi and Islamabad in the future, it would only be on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Dismissing the possibility of Jammu and Kashmir featuring in talks, Naidu reiterated that Kashmir is an integral issue of India. The Vice President made the remark while addressing the Golden Jubilee celebration of a Naval Science and Technological Laboratory in Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh.
We can assure all, but if anybody try to attack us, we will give them a fitting reply which they cannot forget in their lifetime. Let me underline, we are not warmongers. We are peace-loving citizens. We know that peace is the prerequisite for progress. If there is tension, you cannot have attention. We are aware of it. But if somebody want to create tension, and one of our neighbors is aiding, abetting, funding, training terrorists continuously, without realizing the damage they are doing to the humanity, and also the damage they are going to inflict on themselves in the coming future, they should understand that. And we don't want to interfere in anybody's internal affairs. But we don't want others also not to interfere in our internal affairs.
And in a veiled attack on Pakistan, Naidu said that India does not believe in attacking any other country, but it does not fail in giving a befitting reply to those who initiate attacks.
They were talking about Kashmir, this to discuss. What is there to discuss in Kashmir? Kashmir is an integral part of India. From 1952 onwards, 54 onwards, elections are held. Chief ministers are elected. There is an elected government at the state. Members of parliament are being elected. And what is there to discuss? Yes, there is something remains to be discussed. I do agree. The remaining thing to discuss is about with our neighbor is hand over the remaining part of Kashmir to us. That is the voting. My dear scientists, Kashmir is an integral part of India, and now what we have done is only an administrative arrangement. We have not done anything else, and that's well within our country's right. We are a sovereign country. We'll make adjustments. There will be some division sometimes. Andhra has been divided earlier. Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand. All these things, they are all administrative changes. Similarly, that temporary thing is called as temporary in the constitution is now temporary 72 years that has been removed by Parliament. And Parliament also with a 2/3 majority in Rajya Sabha, which I am presiding. I was only presiding, but the members were deciding. And 4/5 of the Lok Sabha, 2/3 of Rajya Sabha has approved it. So now it's a foregone conclusion. So the unnecessary things should not be said or done by anybody, and we will not tolerate anybody's interference in our internal affairs. We are capable of sorting out issues, we will do it. That our Prime Minister also has made very clear.
And backing centre over the abrogation of Article 370, Naidu said that the move was in the interest of our country. And in more news related to Jammu and Kashmir, petitions related to the abrogation of Article 370 will be heard by a 2-judge constitution bench in the month of October. The Supreme Court has said this today while hearing pleas against the repeal of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. The top court has also sought a response from the centre as it heard a batch of petitions against the government's decision. During today's hearing, the Supreme Court also allowed CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri to visit Jammu and Kashmir to meet his party colleague and former MLA Mohammad Yusuf Tarigami in the state. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the Union Cabinet meeting today at Parliament Annexe building. Now, this will be followed by a meeting of the Council of Ministers. According to reports, the Union Cabinet may consider relaxing foreign direct investment norms in several sectors, including single brand retail and digital media, to attract overseas players. Apart from this, it is also expected that the Cabinet would make some big announcements related to Jammu and Kashmir during the meeting. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held a meeting with the tax officials and the representatives of the business community in Pune on Tuesday. Minister of State for Finance Anurag Singh Thakur and Finance Secretary Ajay Bhushan Pandey were also present in the meeting. Addressing a press conference, Finance Minister said that ways to simplify GST and further slashing tax rates were discussed in the meeting. She said that the government wants entrepreneurs to work without any worry. She added that she asked the tax officials not to overstretch to meet tax targets.
The Prime Minister had very clearly said during the Independence Day speech from the Red Fort, and also after that when he has addressed some newspapers, and said how clearly this country values, whatever be the size, small, medium, micro, nano or large, entrepreneurs of this country. We want them to, without a worry, carry on with their business. Similarly, we have expressed our keenness to serve the cause of farmers, so that everyone carries on with their business, which essentially creates jobs, which creates wealth for the country. And therefore, it was important that the tax administrators facilitated them. I've announced some measures for the automobile sector. I'll have to see how it goes. I'll also have to take input from the sector as to what kind of an impact the announcements which were already made have had. And only then can I take a call.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also dismissed the criticism about the RBI's decision to transfer 1.76 lakh crore rupees to the government, saying that it was a decision by the central bank and that the government had no role to play in it. She said that the top bank's decision is in line with the recommendations of the Bimal Jalan Committee.
That the Bimal Jalan Committee had eminent experts in it. It was constituted by the Reserve Bank themselves and not by the government. They have had several sittings and have said or have come out with a formula. Like the committees which looked at the excess capital framework earlier. So this is a committee which the Reserve Bank appointed, had experts. They have given a formula based on which the amount is arrived at.
And the Bimal Jalan Committee, which has been set up to review the Reserve Bank of India's economic capital framework, has suggested that the framework may be periodically reviewed every 5 years. The panel recommended to align the central bank's accounting year with the financial year, which could reduce the need for paying interim dividend. The central bank released the committee's report on Tuesday. All the recommendations of the panel set up to study the central bank's economic capital framework were accepted by the RBI's central board on Monday. After a board meeting on Monday, the RBI agreed to transfer 1.76 trillion rupees to the government this fiscal. The transfer includes 1.23 trillion rupees of surplus for 2018-19 and 52,637 crore rupees of excess provisions identified as per the revised economic capital framework adopted at the meeting. And Minister for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Nitin Gadkari on Tuesday said that the government aims to create 5 crore jobs in the MSME sector and also increase its contribution to the GDP from 29% to 50% in the next 5 years. He said that the MSMEs has given employment to around 11 crore people in the recent years. The minister also spoke about promoting khadi and generating more employment through it. He said that khadi needs to be modernized in terms of product design, fashion design, weaving and other processes. He added that the government is developing an e-market portal like Alibaba by the name of Bharat Craft, which will provide a direct interface between the buyers and the sellers. Nitin Gadkari was addressing a business summit titled Globalizing the Brand Khadi, the Pride of India in Mumbai.
कहूँ कि टोटल 29% ऑफ जीडीपी हमारा फिलहाल है, उसको 50% हमको करना है। हम टोटल एमएसएमई में 40% ऑफ द एक्सपोर्ट हमारा है, उसको हम मोर देन 50% करेंगे। और अभी तक 11 करोड़ रोजगार निर्माण हुए हैं। हम इस 5 साल में 5 करोड़ नए रोजगार निर्माण करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
And Home Minister Amit Shah today attended the Foundation Day celebrations of Bureau of Police Research and Development in the national capital today. The Home Minister stressed upon the importance of maintaining India's internal and external security to achieve Prime Minister Narendra Modi's goal of making the country a $5 trillion economy. He said that over 34,000 personnel had sacrificed their lives to maintain law and order within the country, lending credibility to the police force, and urged the policemen to carry forward the good work done by their colleagues.
पुलिस रिफॉर्म्स एक बहुत लंबी प्रक्रिया है, निरंतर चलने वाली प्रक्रिया है, इसका कभी अंत नहीं होने वाला है। चुनौतियां जैसे बदलेगी, इसको अलग तरीके से पुलिस रिफॉर्म को हमने आगे बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। मगर पुलिसिंग में रिफॉर्म वो बहुत बड़ा कंसेप्ट है, उसको नए सिरे से बीपीआरएनडी ने डिजाइन करना पड़ेगा। पुलिस रिफॉर्म और पुलिसिंग में रिफॉर्म दो में बहुत बड़ा अंतर है, और मुझे लगता है पुलिसिंग में रिफॉर्म की भी जरूरत है। एक पूरा पुलिस का नजरिया कानून और व्यवस्था को टैकल करने का हमने बदलना पड़ेगा। पुलिस के अंदर और पुलिसिंग के अंदर रिफॉर्म वो बीपीआरएनडी की जिम्मेदारी है, और इस दृष्टि से नए दृष्टिकोण से सोचना चाहिए।
Russian Embassy Deputy Chief Roman Babushkin has said that his country has no role to play in the India-Pakistan dispute. He added that during the closed-door event at the United Nations Security Council, we reiterated that Kashmir is an internal issue of India. Meanwhile, Russian envoy to India, Nikolay Kudashev, has also said that abrogation of Article 370 on Jammu and Kashmir is the sovereign decision of the Indian government. It is an internal matter of India. He said that all issues existing between India and Pakistan should be resolved through dialogue on the basis of Shimla Agreement and the Lahore Declaration. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that the changing world has thrown up new concepts and that approaches have also changed, and Indo-Pacific was one of them. He spoke at the Valdai Discussion Club, a Moscow-based think tank and discussion forum established in 2004 on the topic India's Perspective on the Indo-Pacific. Jaishankar arrived in Moscow on Tuesday on a two-day visit to Russia, and during the visit, he will hold talks with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, and also finalize the preparations for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's forthcoming visit to that country. His visit comes days ahead of the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok from 4th to 6th of September, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the chief guest. The External Affairs Minister also unveiled a statue of Mahatma Gandhi at India's embassy in Russia. And Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana completes 5 years today since its inception. More than 1 lakh crore rupees have been deposited in over 36 crore bank accounts opened under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So far, 1.26 lakh bank mitras have delivered branchless services in the sub-service areas. PM Jan Dhan Yojana is a financial inclusion program of the government which is applicable to 20 to 65 years of age group. The scheme aims to expand and make affordable access to financial services such as bank accounts, remittances, credit, insurance and pensions. Under the program, the accounts are opened at zero balance and they do not become dormant even if deposits are not made into it. The scheme was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 15th of August 2014 and it came into effect from 28th of August 2014. In a huge push for women hygiene in our country, the government on Tuesday slashed the prices of sanitary napkins sold from the Jan Aushadhi Kendras to just 1 rupee per piece from 2.5 rupees earlier. Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers D.V. Sadanand Gaura made the announcement. The biodegradable sanitary napkin Suvidha sold in a pack of 4 are available at the subsidized prices in designated centres across the country. Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers Mansukh Mandavia said that the government has launched OXO biodegradable sanitary napkins at 1 rupees. Now, these napkins under the brand name Suvidha will be available at more than 5,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendra across the country. Empowerment of women has been a key initiative of the Modi government, and during the last 1 year, around 2.2 crore sanitary napkins have been sold from the Jan Aushadhi Kendras across the country. The government also launched a Jan Aushadhi Sugam mobile app for locating Jan Aushadhi stores, along with the details of the generic medicines that are available in these stores.
Our department has been issued with the direction, pharmaceutical department issued with the direction that within 100 days you should provide these napkins, and especially nearly 5,500 our generic medicine shops should sell these napkins to the women of the country across.
सारे देश में 5,500 जन औषधि स्टोर ओपन किया, अभी खुल रहा है ज़्यादा। ये जन औषधि स्टोर पर सुविधा नैपकिन के माध्यम से सैनिटरी पैड भी उपलब्ध है।
The Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO today completed another lunar-bound maneuver and also put Chandrayaan-2 in a new orbit around the moon. The space agency said that the maneuver for spacecraft was performed successfully beginning at 9:04 am as planned using on-board propulsion system. The duration of the maneuver was 1,190 seconds. ISRO added that the orbit achieved its 179 kilometer into 1412 kilometers. In a major milestone for India's second moon mission, spacecraft had successfully entered the lunar orbit on 20th of August by performing lunar orbit insertion maneuver. And after performing second lunar-bound orbit maneuver on 21st of August, ISRO had released 2 sets of pictures of moon captured by the spacecraft. Now, there will be 2 more orbit maneuvers to make the spacecraft enter into its final orbit, passing over the lunar poles at a distance of about 100 kilometers from the moon's surface. And the next lunar-bound orbit maneuver is scheduled on 30th of August. It would then perform a series of complex maneuvers, and it would soft land on the south polar region of the moon on 7th of September this year. And after setting a number of records, Gujarat's Statue of Unity has now found space in the Time magazine. It has made it to the list of World's Greatest Places 2019, which is a compilation of 100 new and noteworthy destinations to experience in this year. Apart from the Statue of Unity, Mumbai's Soha House has also made it to the list. And in a Twitter message, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed happiness that the Statue of Unity is emerging as a popular tourist spot. He said that, in fact, just few days back, a record 34,000 people had visited the site in a single day. And Afghanistan has written to the United Nations Security Council regarding Pakistan targeting and shelling its province bordering the southern neighbor. Pakistan had on 19th and 20th of August fired over 200 rockets into Shiltan district of northeastern Kunar province in Afghanistan, bordering Pakistan. The attack caused massive damage to the area and also resulted in the displacement of the local population there. The letter was written by Adela Ras, Afghan envoy to the United Nations on 22nd of August. And this is not the first time when Afghanistan has written to the United Nations. In February this year, it had complained to the UNSC on Pakistan's closeness with the Taliban and its support to the terror groups. On to some sports news now. An Indian cricket team captain Virat Kohli has maintained his slender 6-point lead over Australia's Steve Smith in the latest ICC cricket test rankings that were released in Dubai on Tuesday. Top-ranked Virat Kohli has 910 points, while Steve Smith with 904 is placed second. New Zealand captain Kane Williamson is placed third, and India's Cheteshwar Pujara is at the fourth spot. Indian Test vice-captain Ajinkya Rahane, with a score of 81 and 102 in the first test against the West Indies, jumped 10 places to be 11th in the list. While in the bowlers list, Jasprit Bumrah made his maiden entry into the top 10. He has taken 7th position in the list after a leap of 9 places due to his 5-wicket haul against the West Indies. The biggest gainer, however, was all-rounder England's Ben Stokes following his stupendous effort in the third test against Australia at Headingley. It has helped him reach his career best position among the batsmen and all-rounders. He is now 13th among the batsmen and second among the all-rounders. And the Indian team created history by winning 1 gold medal, 1 silver medal and 2 bronze medals at the 45th World Skills Kazan 2019 competition. It has been the country's best performance since it first participated at the event in 2007. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.